the very special Thursday night edition of Pageantry Now for National Women's Day, or sorry, International Women's Day. And we are looking forward to being able to have a special guest on that's going to tell us all about what she does in her community to be able to support her community, make a difference. A little bit about Pageantry Now. We are all about highlighting different pageant title holders from around the world in a positive way. A lot of times we only see the negative things that you hear about pageants. So you see a blooper from pageant the day before on TV, or maybe you'll see or hear a controversial question, or maybe even it's just reality television that you see or hear about pageants. And we find that sometimes that's a negative connotation of what women and men are doing around the world, trying to make a difference using their crown to be able to change their world. So with that being said, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get her in just a little while. In the meantime, if let's do a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't found us already, as you can see, we are in road to 5K with the hopes of being able to be partnered. So if you haven't found us already, please do so. And then that way, you know, you can invite your fans and make sure that they're part of the show on a regular basis as well. Let me just do this really quick. I see that there's somebody in the audience, but I don't know who it is. Someone's being secret. Hi, secret person. Let me see. 2 viewers now. Let's see, there's 3. Hey, Sean, how are you? Thanks for being here. One of our loyal crownies is in the house. And so, Sean, if you can, do me a favor, invite all of your fans so that know that we're here. Again, we are trying to get partnered, so the more shares that we get, the more captures that we get, the higher we go up in the ranking. Hey, Reneth, how are you? Thank you for being here. Please make sure this is not our normal night. Again, normally we have Sunday nights at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but this is a special edition for International Women's Day. So we're celebrating women, and of course, the women that are here. Hey, Mackenzie, how are you? The women that make a difference in our communities all over the world using a title and a crown to be able to do that. I hope everybody had a great Thursday so far. Let me just see. I'm not seeing Hayley on, so let me just make sure. Thank you all, kids. Thank you. I appreciate you. You guys know that you're my fan base. Thank you, Sean, for inviting your fans. Hopefully, let's try to move up. What our goal is right now, so that you guys know, is we cannot go up to the next level until we get at least 100 viewers on at the same time. So we're going to try to share as much as we can so that we can move up and hopefully get subscribers or fans so that they can help us move up in the rankings. But of course, we want to make sure that our guests that are on, that we're highlighting them and highlighting. Thank you, Mackenzie, for inviting your fans so that they get highlighted and they get their stories of what they do around the world. So hold on one second, let me send Hayley. I'm good, doing good, thank you. I was sick on Sunday, so I'm sorry I wasn't here. I had a cold and I had pink eye, and then, you know, just stuff that happens. So hold on. Hold on one second. Sorry. Yeah, I'm feeling better. Thank you. Hold on. All right, hold on. All right, so hopefully she will be on a minute. Oh, we got more fans. Thank you. Hey, Michael, how are you? My name is Stacy. This is Pageantry Now, and we are all about positive pageantry and being able to highlight title holders and what they are doing across the world to be able to make a difference in their community. I even got dressed up for International Women's Day, so you can't really see. I've got one of the. You had a long, iffy week, but hey, you're on spring break. I'm jolly. Our spring break is still a month away. And the only good thing is that, well, it's not even a month away. It's like 2 weeks away. Oh my gosh, it's 2 weeks away. Spring break is 2 weeks away. No, I'm going to Disney World, so thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. That's awesome. If you guys haven't already, please fan us. We're trying to make our way up to, Michael's on. We're trying to make our way up to being partnered. The only way that we're going to be able to do that is if you guys share, you guys capture, you guys move us up in the rankings. So the more people that come in, the more people that share, the more people that are part of the broadcast, the more that we're able to be able to really highlight, you know, what we do on a regular basis. Yeah, I know, road to 5K. So we're broadcasting in hashtag road to 5K with the hopes that you now will start to see us and start to recognize that we're doing regular broadcasts again, and, you know, hopefully advertise us. So we are number 10. So let's get to number 1. You know, you guys can do it. All you have to do is like us, send us what. I know it's cold there. It's okay. I am in Miami. Yes, I did. Of course, Michael. Why not? You came to visit. Why not just fan you? Should I not fan you? I apologize. So anyways, so yeah, it's cold here in Miami, of all things. Hey, Haley, thank you. It's cold here. I'm wearing sleeves because it's actually down. I don't know. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. I mean, in Miami, it's spring break, so people are, you know, here getting away from the cold. And I kind of laughed because, oh, not hurricane tracker. It's not hurricane season yet. All right, let's see. Anaheim. No, I don't live there. Miami. Oh, it's not pulling up. Oh, well. All right. 68 degrees. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. I apologize. I'm sorry that I wasn't, Michael, but I definitely am doing it now. Maybe I was before. Sometimes the system breaks you down. So I see that our guest is here. So let me see if I can get her started. In the meantime, capture, share, invite your fans as much as you can. We want to be able to highlight this amazing woman and what she does, and how she is out there really trying to change her community. She's in Indiana, so I'm betting she is cold as well, because I know that everybody up north got hit with that really nasty cold snap. So we are appreciating that. Ooh, 20 to 30 degree weather is not okay. 68 degrees. Yeah, I know. It's nice here. Oh no, we lost you. It was working. Come on. Let's go, Haley. Let's go. Let's go, Haley. Let's go. It worked. You guys saw it, right? No technical difficulties. And look, we're at number 3 on road to 5K. So yay! Come on, guys, share us, like us. Oh, Haley's back in. It must have kicked her out. Oh, and now I can't log her in. All right, let's try this again. No, don't capture. Don't capture. Thanks. Thank you for capturing a moment and sharing it. The more that you're capturing moments, the more thumbs up you give us, the higher we get. We can get to number 1. I know we can. I know we can. We've done, this one is easy. This one is easy. It's not like when we're in girls. We've got to work for so many likes. So, so we'll just make sure from now on that we'll do road to 5K so that everyone can see we've got followers. No, Rise does not need to have the capture moment. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Rise, Rise is a new app that's associated with YouNow, and it is a way for people to be able to get together, kind of like after show. It's like an after party where people can go on. You can have up to 4 people in the chat, and you can all talk about what happened. Hey, hi, talk to my hand. There you go. Sorry. All right, let's try it again. It's not working, Haley. What's going on? It's pretty fun. I mean, we have a good time when we go on. I just have to be really careful what I say now. 9 people. Hey, 7 people in the house. Everybody, let's try this again. High fives. Well, actually, today, because it's International Women's Day, there are a lot of the Miss Universe delegates that are putting their hands up and saying, press for progress. So, press for progress. We want to be able to help women in the Me Too and trying to be able to give themselves an opportunity to, it won't let me, Haley, do me a favor, check and see if you can put yourself, there we go. Yes. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. It's working.
But so no idea what happened. It just wouldn't let me connect for some reason.
It depends on the server and the night, and sometimes we get we if the server is really full, then we get bounced back, so it's harder to be able to guess people because it takes up a lot of bandwidth.
Oh.
So if you're on Wi-Fi, it runs a little bit easier, but we still can have technical issues. So we appreciate you being here. I know it's been a rough time trying to get on the show, so I apologize, but I'm glad you're here.
That's okay. Thank you for having me. I hope you're feeling better. Are you feeling better?
I am. The cold is gone. The pink eye is gone. Oh, gosh. Anyways, thank you.
Good.
All right. So do me a favor. Introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are.
Of course. I am Hayley Dorsett, and I am currently Mrs. Knox County, Indiana, 2018, and I am going to be running for Mrs. Indiana America on April 21st, along with so many other amazing women, and it's a perfect day for me to be on here, especially for International Women's Day.
Yes, that's what I was saying. I was like, it turned out actually perfectly. I think it's actually, I was actually going to see if we would change and stay in girls, but I thought, you know what? Let's try to get into one where we can get you at the top so more people can hear your story and hear about what you have to say. So it was perfect. Awesome. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Mrs. America system, and so that everybody understands, you are married.
Mrs. America system is the leading pageantry system for married women, and it covers all 50 states, and it also includes the District of Columbia, and it does consist of married women. And you can have children. You don't have to have children. That's not a requirement, but you do have to be married, and you have to be married for a certain amount of time before you're able to actually compete in the state competition.
Awesome. Okay, and the areas of competition, so everybody knows, thank you, Michael, for being here. Shalawa, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. If you haven't already, fans, please invite your fans as well.
Yes.
So, areas of competition.
Okay, so the areas of competition are interview, which is 50%, and I think that that's so wonderful that it is so heavily weighted, because honestly, you can get up there, you can get in a gown, and you can feel absolutely amazing, and you can look amazing, but it's how you present yourself and how you're able to talk to other people that is most important. So 50% of that goes to interview, and then 25% goes towards swimsuit, and then another 25% goes towards evening gown.
Evening. Fantastic. Yeah. And a lot of our title holders have a platform or some type of charity that they work with. I know that with Mrs. America, do they have a specific charity that they work with nationally?
Yes, they work with a national organization called Victoria's Voice, and it is an organization that focuses heavily on opioid and substance abuse and bringing awareness to that.
Oh, wow.
It's a wonderful organization. A gentleman founded this organization after his daughter passed away from a drug overdose. So I think it's really wonderful to be able to have an organization that is able to bring light to something that is so detrimental to many people across America, especially.
Well, across the world. It's not just the United States. And that's one thing also with the Mrs. America system. If you win the title of Mrs. America, you go on to Mrs. World, where you compete against other countries as well. So what do you have a charity or a platform that you work with locally in your area?
Yes, I do. And it is one that I'm so passionate about. It's one that I formulated, and it's called More Than Just an Army Wife. And I am an Army wife. My husband is in the military. Yes, he's in the United States Army. He is a staff sergeant, and he has done 2 tours to Afghanistan, received a Purple Heart, and I am so proud of him. So,
my gosh.
Yes. So I thought that it was really important to showcase the different areas that a military wife has to be so prominent in. So with More Than Just an Army Wife, I have 3 different little breakdowns. So one of them is focusing on strengthening families, and the other one is focusing on strengthening marriages, which is very important and sometimes somewhat difficult, especially military family. And then third is focusing physical and mental health as well.
Okay, so having previously been an Army wife myself, and unfortunately in a situation where the marriage failed because he actually came back with PTSD, and we were not able to reconnect in a way that was healthy for either one of us.
Right.
I appreciate what you're doing, because I know that there are many women across the United States that it is such a hard job to be a military spouse, because they're men and women as well. That I don't think the general public understands how hard it is to, let your loved one, just like for a police officer or a firefighter spouse, to go off and protect our country, and they come back with bumps and bruises, and it's not just physical, it's very much mental. And you have to bear the burden of that, and that's not easy. Not only that, they're gone for months at a time.
Right.
And you don't know what's happening. Now it's a little bit different from when I was an Army wife. I was an Army wife from 86 to 91 when I competed in Mrs. America. Oh my gosh. A couple of days ago.
Right.
But, we didn't have internet.
Right.
There was no internet at all. So we got one phone call a month, and that phone call was like $800, which is pretty much what we made.
Wow.
Because he was
things, it's so worth it that you scrape and you scrounge and you do whatever you can in order to make sure that phone call happens, because you just never know what's going to happen the next day, the next hour, the next minute, or even the next second. So you want to be able to cherish every single one of them.
Absolutely. So what are the types of things that you do to help support these families, support yourself as well, because this becomes emotional support for you as well. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay. One of the organizations that we have been working really heavily with is called Dogs Helping Heroes. My husband actually has a PTSD service dog that he has had since October, and her name is Lyric, and she is fantastic, and she really does help him a lot, and she helps our family as a whole as well. The love and the calmness that she brings to him is just, it's remarkable, and you just don't understand how much of a bond a dog can bring to a human and how much they can help them. So we do a lot
too. So I understand. I have one that's a therapy dog and one that is a service dog. So I totally get it.
They're amazing. They really are. And the amount of training that they go through in order to specifically help the person that they are placed with is remarkable as well. So with Dogs Helping Heroes, they start out having their dogs adopted actually from a shelter. So they're shelter dogs. They're not dogs that are bred specifically like, oh, you've got to get this specific type of breed in order for it to work as a service dog. They get these dogs out of shelters. So they save these dogs. They take them.
Fantastic.
It is fantastic. And then they take them one step further. Even more amazing is they take them and they put them into this initial program, and it's actually in a prison for prisoners on good behavior.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they do the initial training with the dogs. So they teach them the basic commands: sit, stay, lay, come, things of that nature. And then Dogs Helping Heroes, yes, the founder and the lead trainer, his name is David Benson. And he goes and handpicks these dogs a couple times a month, and they do interviews. So they do board interviews with everybody on the board of Dogs Helping Heroes in order to see, who would be the most dependent on having a dog if they were to have one.
Right.
So they pick a dog specifically for the person. They go in with the person in mind first, and that's their dog. They bring this dog out. They do a couple more months of specialized training, specific training for the needs of the person that they're going to be living with. Their hero is what they call them, the hero teams. So they bring these dogs back there, some that work with heroes that are not able to stand on their own, who have panic attacks in public and can't go out. So they teach them basic commands as to how to help them stand up, how to get up in their face if they start having an anxiety attack or something of that nature. And it's wonderful. And with that organization, we've done a couple of different things. We did Ride for a Cause, which we actually partnered with a motorcycle group down in Clarksville, Indiana, and we partnered with them, and they donated and had their whole bike club come, and we were able to do kind of a 2-in-1 benefit there. And then we also had one that was called a Be at Ease event at an art gallery. So not only was it an art showing, there was live music, there was food tasting, there were over 20 different vendors there that gave out different samples, not only to humans, but to dogs too. So they had little dog treats and little samples for them too. It was wonderful.
Aww.
But that's one of the organizations that we work very heavily with. And then another one that I like to help with is American Karate Do kickboxing. I actually teach cardio kickboxing there too.
Karate Do kickboxing. Okay.
Yes.
You're going to have to explain now.
The name is American Karate Do Kickboxing. And
Okay.
it's top 5 karate schools in the state of Indiana. And I am privileged enough to be able to work there. And I have been working there since July. I teach cardio kickboxing class 2 times a week. And that's where the physical and mental health aspect come into play in my platform as well. Because not only do I get to help these women and strengthen them and meet their goals, but I go in there with an exercise, but my age range goes from 13 years old to 60 plus. So,
oh, wow.
So I make variations, and I don't let the women get discouraged if they say, I can't do this exercise. I say, here's a way we can change it. This is a way that you can do it, and you can still work those muscles, and you can still feel fantastic. And one woman in particular, she came in, she had a mastectomy, she had breast cancer, and they had to take muscles out of her back in order to reconstruct. So she was not able to use her back, had no feeling in her back. She had feeling in her back by October, and she has been with me faithfully every day since then. And so
oh my gosh,
it's really amazing to see the types of changes that not only they're making physically in their bodies, but also mentally in their brains when they're doing these things.
that's amazing. Sorry, the only reason I'm typing in chat and I'm not saying anything, I see people coming in and out. I just want them to know we appreciate them being here, but I want to hear your story and I want to hear about these amazing things that you're doing, because that is fantastic.
Yes, I could talk all day, so.
That's okay. Hey, Casey. Oh, thanks for being here. Okay. We're going to I'm sure we'll have people popping in, so we appreciate it. Again, for those of you that are new to us, please fan us, become a Crownie, which is one of our loyal followers. And we do our shows usually on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we're now doing Miss America Mondays. we just had a huge amount of Miss America contestants, and now we're wanting to be on the show, so we wanted to make sure that we could give them their own day, and then today worked out great because it's International Women's Day, so we get to have Mrs. America contestants, so that works out too. Hi Casey, thanks for being here.
Hey Katie.
You guys know each other, right?
Yes, I tuned in and I watched her, so I'm so happy that she's here watching mine too.
We appreciate you. So thank you for being here. So let's talk a little bit. Yes, we do. Yay. So let's talk a little bit about this whole pageant thing. Yes. How do these amazing things that you're doing, helping your community, helping your husband, helping to support, people like yourself, how does that tie into pageantry?
Really, there are so many ways that it ties into pageantry, and people don't understand, I think, to the fullest extent what a pageant woman does and how she gets where she's going. In order to be out in the community, you have to volunteer, you have to give back, and while you're doing so, you need to do things you're enjoying, so you're passionate about it at the same time. So not only am I able to have a more broad spectrum of possibilities and opportunities, I'm actually having people contacting me now to do things with them, and I wouldn't have had that before. So having this title definitely ties into pageantry because I'm able to give back so much more, and I'm able to lead by example. I like to take my daughter with me to as many things as I can, and so she's 6 years old, and I think it's really important to be able to show her you can do these things. You can be a hard worker. You can fulfill your dreams. You can help others, and you can have fun while you're doing it. So making sure that other people see in me and her what I see and what she sees, that's pageantry all in one. And being happy when you're doing it, and spreading love and spreading joy and spreading your message and what you're passionate about, that's what pageantry is all about.
No, I agree. And being empowering. And a lot of people think that pageantry is degrading, or they say things like, oh my gosh, it's just a bunch of, women in swimsuits. And the truth of the matter is, the job of a title holder is a job, and it is really, really hard. And now you're adding to that equation being married,
yes,
being a mom.
Yes.
So that means, you've got a job, you are volunteering in the community, and trying to be a good role model for your children as well. How do you do that? How do you organize all of that?
My family with me to as many things as I can. That's what Mrs. America is all about, is bringing your family along and including them into everything. That's why Mrs. America's system is so amazing, is because I'm able to bring my husband and I'm able to show him off. I'm able to be his arm candy, and I have this crown on my head, but I'm like, hey, look at him. And at the time, I get to bring my kids along and they get to enjoy this with me. And, you know, I am busy. I just landed my dream job at the beginning of January. I work in a prison and I work with inmates, teaching them behavioral health skills. I just enrolled in a,
wow.
yeah, I just
Are you an ABA? I'm sorry, I shouldn't, that was kind of interrupting. No, okay.
hey, I'm a behavioral health specialist. So what I sit in a group with anywhere from 12 to 15 inmates, sometimes up to 20, depending on, you know, how big the class is, how many people come out of their cells. And the class that I'm teaching right now is actually called Your Life Works. And it's teaching them about their passion, their drive, and their work ethic. So what we do is we try to prepare these offenders for reintegration back into society. That way they are members, they're honorable members of society when they are released, and they don't make the same mistakes that got them inside in the first place. So I have always been interested ever since I was in 5th or 6th grade. I've always wanted to work in a prison. And when this job opportunity became available, I was so excited. And, you know, being able to do that, I just enrolled in a master's program for clinical mental health counseling. I want to stay in a prison, or also I think it would be wonderful to be able to be a military mental health counselor. So I'm on the cusp of one of those two things. I've got 2 kids. I teach a class. I mean, I just write it all down. I write it all down in my little handy planner, and I hope for the best. And I'm busy, yes, but I love every single second of it. And I get to spend so much time with my family, and it's really just, it's a wonderful experience. It really is.
I think, I mean, and I admire you, because I that's the one thing I love pageantry, but I do not have children. I mean, I am a business owner, so I have a gymnastics company, which we run, but I'm also an ABA therapist. So I specialize with children that are autistic, which is why I asked you. I was like, do you do ABA? Because I know that comes into play a lot of times. I mean, for me, I work with people that are autistic, but the same therapy ideas work with anybody that's trying to change the way they look at life, and finding those positive feedbacks is the same. I mean, they work in the same way, so that's why I asked. So, but what made you decide that you? Well, first of all, how did you land this job? Like, how did that applied behavior? Oh my gosh, I just forgot what I do. Okay, it's really sad. My brain is really shut down. This has been one heck of a week. Applied behavior analysis. Sorry, thank you.
Number 2.
Pardon me? We are number 2. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Share some more. Capture some more. We love it. Okay. Okay, I'm getting texted by my husband. I have no idea what he's wanting from me. Hold on 1 second. Oh, my husband brought me chocolate cake. Okay. Sorry.
My puppy's trying to escape, so I've got to let her out of the room before she freaks out.
Don't let her escape.
She just realized that Dad wasn't in the room. Go ahead, girl. Good girl.
Yes, Mackenzie, you can ask questions. Go ahead. Oh, thank you, John. We appreciate it. My name is Stacy. I'm the host of Pageantry Now, and this is my special guest, Hayley. She is Mrs. Knox County, Indiana, and she's going to be competing for the title of Mrs. Indiana America in April.
Yes.
All right. So, Mackenzie, do you want to ask her a question? Mackenzie asks hard questions, so just so you're prepared. Okay. Does your daughter do pageants too, or no?
She has done one.
Okay.
It was 2 years ago, and it was just one of the little festival pageants around our hometown. It's called the Watermelon Festival Pageant. And she did it, and she got up on stage. The wind started blowing signs around, and she stopped like a deer in the headlights and just stared off into space. Keep moving, it's going to be okay. But she really wants to, and I told her, you know, we need to, we need to prepare her more, and we need to sure that she's comfortable when she's doing it. So
And it's good to find like a system that too lets them be children. So that's the one thing for anybody that comes in and goes, "Oh, toddlers and tiaras." I am not a huge proponent of those types of pageants. I've judged them. My very first stalker came from one of those that I judged. I was like, okay, great. But I really believe that natural pageantry is a great way to develop a child's self-esteem, to get them used to speaking in public, to get them used to, making good eye contact and having a good relationship with adults, which a lot of times children are not enabled to be able to have those relationships. So let's go. Right. All right. So Mackenzie wants to know, historically speaking, who is your role model and why?
Ooh, that's a hard one. You weren't lying about the hard questions.
Oh, no. And she's 16. She asks some of the hardest questions. If you want to do interview prep, Mackenzie is the person for you.
Okay. So honestly, there are a lot of people that I look up to in history, but one that definitely comes to mind, and it's not, I guess, not super old, but I really look up to Chris and Taya Kyle. Chris Kyle, if you don't know, he is the man that American Sniper is based off of. And he is coined with having the most, I don't know how to put this lightly, but the most kills.
One-shot kills.
Yes, the most one-shot kills. And he did so much for our country. And, when he came back, he tried to keep that going after he had done his 4 or 5 deployments. He came back and he tried to continue to help other military members, which unfortunately ended up being the reason that he met his fate. He was with another soldier he was trying to help, and unfortunately he ended up being killed by him. But in his honor, his wife Taya has continued to live his legacy, and she still talks about him, and she has a Facebook page, and if you have time you should go look. It's called Frog, and it's about Chris Kyle and his journey, but Taya runs it now. And National Chris Kyle Day is actually February 2nd, which is the day before my birthday. So I think it's so wonderful, that he did so much as a soldier, as a military member, and then he came back and he tried to continue doing that, and not only fight away with the military, he came home and he tried to fight with the military as well, with wounds that they can't see, with other wounds that people can't see and that some may not understand. He tried to grasp all of their troubles, and he tried to take them as their own and help them. So I would definitely say Kyle and Taya living on in his legacy. Absolutely.
I think that is so inspiring. And I know that one of the things that, again, having been a military wife, and yes, Casey just said, well, type it and then I'll ask it. So having previously been a military wife myself, that was really the biggest challenge was, my husband was in the military and was military intelligence. So he was special ops, and he couldn't tell me anything that happened. And he was actually in a war that didn't exist during the Cold War. So he came home not being able to talk to anybody about what he went through. And in his honor, I mean, we're still friends, but he now is a psychologist. He's actually a doctor. He has a doctorate in psychology, and his main practice is actually helping people with PTSD, because when he came home, there wasn't anything called PTSD. It was shell shock, which, I mean, same thing. It just has a different name to it. But how do these people deal with the morality of having to fight for our country, which also means defending themselves, which also means having to kill people, which is not, it's not healthy for any of us to be able to take on that kind of burden. And how are they able to unload that and be able to deal with that when they get home too? And where is the support? Because unfortunately, veterans are not supported. Military are not supported in a correct way. I'm sorry, I won't get political on this, but
I agree. I completely, wholeheartedly, 120% agree. So.
Okay, well, I'm glad. Thank you. Okay, so Casey wants to know, what life experience do you think someone needs to compete in a Mrs. Pageant?
Ooh, life experience, that differs with every person. And I don't think that there are any specific experiences that people need to have in order to be able to get up on stage, compete, and be able to give back. If they feel confident enough, and even if they want to gain confidence by getting up on stage in front of somebody, being in front of a panel of judges, talking, I don't think that there's necessarily any particular experience that they need to have in order to do that. They need to be able to live in the moment and live in that experience and possibly learn from that experience. However, I think there's one particular thing, because everybody is so vastly different, that if there was one life experience and you said, you have to be able to have this experience before you can compete, it would be so hard to get contestants because everybody is so much different. So I think, above all, just being able to have that confidence in yourself, and even just to register, that's the first step, and that's the biggest step. So, I don't think there's one thing in particular that any person has to have in order to compete.
I agree. I mean, and I'll answer it too, Casey. I mean, I have been competing for 35 years now, different systems. I've done Miss, I've done Teen, I've done Misses. And I think that I agree with you, Hayley, is that the most important thing is having the confidence to be able to say, I can do this. And recognize, number one, that you're confident in being able to do it, but recognizing that you're putting yourself open to being criticized.
Yep.
And being able to take that criticism and be able to use it in a positive manner, even if you don't win the crown.
Absolutely. And still being able to continue on if you don't. I mean, I know I've only done 2 other pageants in my entire life, and it was 11 years ago. So it's been a while, and I'm not your typical pageant girl. I don't have all of those same experiences that most pageant girls have. I've never been on a Miss America stage. I've never been on a Miss United States stage or a preliminary. I did 2 little local festival pageants.
Those are the best.
They are. And they are the best. And I enjoyed every minute of it. And I felt like I learned so much from them. However, if it was down to, you have to have this experience, you have to have been in this system before you compete here, no. So, I mean, I think it's definitely just it's not a one size fits all by any means.
Right. And that's another thing too, is don't let your size, your color, your age, your height, any of that dictate how you feel about you. If you want to go out and try it, I say do it. Yes. And I feel wholeheartedly, title holders are title holders whether they win the next crown or not. You're still wearing your crown because you took that experience and you moved forward with it and you put yourself out there. And that's terrifying for most people.
Absolutely. And
terrifying.
It is. And, having to get that mindset saying, okay, if I don't win, I'm still going to go out there and I'm still going to be Mrs. Knox County. If I'm not Mrs. Indiana, right. God willing, I would love to be. But if I'm not, I'm still going to go out there as Mrs. Knox County. I have events already scheduled for May, June, and July. So hopefully I'll be going as Mrs. Indiana, but if not, I'm going to be going as Mrs. Knox County, and I'm going to rock it, and I'm going to represent it just the same.
Is this your first time doing the America system then, Mrs. America?
It is, actually.
Okay.
So last year, I did end up registering to compete in the...
That was when I competed in Mrs. America.
Oh, wow. You don't look any different.
That's 30 years. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh, it is almost 30 years ago. Oh, boy. Okay.
But for the Mrs. Indiana pageant, I actually did register last year to compete. But unfortunately, the week before, there were some issues with my family, and my husband was actually struggling really bad with his PTSD. And at that time, it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time for me to compete. It wasn't the right time for our family. I had so many other things in my mind. I would have not gone out there and been my best self. I would have not been 110% there, which is what I want to be. And, I look at it as a blessing in disguise, because this year I feel so much more prepared than I was last year. I feel so much more confident. My husband's he's done a complete 180 in his state of mind. And so he is even more supportive. He knows how much I love this, how much I want this. And,
that's awesome.
And he backs me 180%. And last year it might have been a different story. So,
Right.
you know, it's a, like I said, a blessing in disguise. I did register. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to compete because at that time my family was more important. But this year I'm here and I am ready. 110%.
Awesome.
I'm ready to go. So this will be my first year actually competing. Yes.
And I've heard that you have a fantastic director who's super supportive, is there
Oh,
if you need anything.
yeah.
And so that I think that that is wonderful that you've got a director that really understands that, you know, you are wives and your wives first and your mothers first, and that, you know, the responsibility is, yes, to the title and then moving forward, you know, going forward as Mrs. Indiana, but also that she's there for when you're not. And that's super, super important. It's a hard job. Directing is a very difficult job. Okay, so we got another question. And not to cut you off, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say that, you know, and when I was going through all the troubles last year, she was the first person to, you know, make sure I was doing okay. And she went as far as call me on the day of the competition and say, you know, we're all thinking of you. We wish that you were here with us. And, you know, it was just it was a really heartwarming experience. And having somebody that, you know, not only leads the organization, but also gives you that sense of who you want to be is it's wonderful. And having somebody that, I don't know, she just wholeheartedly supports every single one of the contestants, doesn't treat any of us any differently. She would give the shirt off of her back to the person off the street. I mean, she's just the director of all directors. I can't say.
One of a kind, it sounds like. Oh my gosh.
She is. She
That's
really
awesome. And then those are the kinds of directors that you want to touch your life. You know, I've had both. I mean, I have a few of my directors that are now my best friends that I love, and you know, we have been through this thick and thin from my very first local title all the way through the international title, and I just keep going, how did that happen?
Right.
And then I mean, and the fact that that same person is there, you know, and still promotes my platform, still talks about what I do, still advertises everything I do, and I haven't been a title holder for her for over a year, but you know, is still there trying to support me. I mean, who does that? So, you know, they're few and far between, but it's so nice when you hear that about directors, because it is a very hard job and it's thankless. Very few people understand how difficult it is. So,
yeah.
All right. So, what do you think about homeless rate in America? If you had a chance, how do you think you would help reduce the rate?
Well, I bet you can guess as to what I'm going to say with homeless. Military members. I mean, every time they come back from a deployment, they have to try to reintegrate themselves into everyday society. And that is hard enough, let alone if you get injured in battle. If it's your last deployment and it's a bad one and your career is done after that, what are you supposed to do?
Right.
That is where a lot of the homeless population comes from, is veterans. And I think giving veterans the respect and the resources that they need in order to be a successful member of society and successful in and of themselves and to feel confident, that would be the first step.
Right.
Because they're the leaders. I mean, they are the ones that protect this country. They're the ones that defend this country, and they're the ones that lead by example. So if you give them the resources and they're able to fundamentally make it possible to get out of any negative situation they are in, they'll inspire other people to do the same. So starting with housing military, getting them the benefits that they so wholeheartedly deserve,
need,
fought for, that would be the first step.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely agree. Just on the back side of that too, a really good friend of mine, special ops, came home. You know, luckily he moved into his family home and he was able to do that. Amazing, great answer. But Mackenzie says, I agree. And he recently lost his home. He's now homeless. And so we took him in for a while, and he lived with us for a while because we felt like there wasn't a system there to give him assistance.
Right.
And, you know, he wasn't getting any help from the VA. He wasn't getting any help, you know, from his family. And there really wasn't a support system for him. I mean, we live in a one-bedroom apartment that's like 600 square feet. So for us to be able to take somebody in, it was like, okay. And I think that that's really sad that I mean, we live in Miami, so we have a huge amount of military that are here on the streets.
Yeah.
We used to live on a different street where a lot of the homeless vets lived, and I got to know them. I would bring food down to them Christmas morning, or whatever food that we had left over from Christmas Eve. I would, try to take them shoes. My friends would laugh. They're like, "Why do you give your Michael Kors shoes to the homeless people?" I'm like,
because they fought for
because they fought for me, and there isn't anybody giving them or taking care of them or doing things for them. And if I'm not going to wear it, I'm not going to throw it away or just donate it. These people need to be supported, and I can't give financially, but I'll give whatever I can in a way to be able to help make a difference. And a lot of people here in the area that I live in are kind of like, well, we don't like them living here. And I'm like, South Florida is sunny and it's warm, and it's one of the few places they can go where it's safe. So why not support them? We've got to be able to do that, and we've got to be able to help them get to a better place, off of the street, hopefully, but at least find some type of sanctuary and support for them. And there's not enough people that understand how tremendous a challenge that is for most of our veterans.
Absolutely. And that's one thing. I mean, I've even tossed around the idea. I've got a lot of big goals and dreams for my future, but one of the things that I've been thinking about recently is, since I've started in this clinical mental health counseling program, if I do go in the direction of military mental health, I think it would be wonderful if I was able to go somewhere around a military base and possibly set up some sort of my own business, and not only integrate a therapy and resume building and reintegration into society, but also having these extra rooms where if these veterans do get in a bind and they're in a pinch and they have nowhere to stay, let them stay there. Their payment is coming to class. And if more people did that, there would be so many less homeless veterans, and I don't know. There's just no words. I think that such small steps can make such a big impact.
Huge impact. Yeah, no, and we don't recognize how those small things make such a huge difference to somebody that's in need. And even if it's as much as you when you go to a hotel and taking all of the toiletries and putting it into a plastic bag and dropping a bunch of them off. I mean, we've even done that too, where I'll just be like, I'm in a hotel, I'll just take them. And I mean, we pay for them, so we don't use them. We bring our own stuff. So, why not give it to somebody that can use it, that's in a situation that is not possibly able to help themselves. So that's okay. So Mackenzie asks another great question. If you had a chance and you were granted one wish, what would that be and why?
If I were granted one wish, I definitely think that I would give it towards my children. And my wish for my children would be that they are successful and that they are happy in whatever they choose to be in their life. I know that it took me a while to find what I wanted to do. I started out in a psychology program, then I went to nursing, then I went to high school English education, then I went to pharmacy, wound up back in psychology. So I knew I was supposed to be there. That's what I graduated in, and right. I'm happy in it. I love what I do. I love helping people, and that self-fulfillment that I get at the end of the day, I want my kids to have that. I want them to be happy. I want them to be successful in themselves. Being successful isn't going out and making 6 figures a year. Being successful is being happy with how you feel on the inside and what you do for others. Yeah. And that's what makes you successful. So that would be my dream. My kids being successful, my kids being happy, and my kids living a long and prosperous life.
That is fantastic. Oh my gosh. I mean, and I'm glad to hear someone say that, because that is one of the big issues I have, is that it's not the stuff that you have. It is not the money you have. It is what you are able to do, the lives you're able to touch, and to feel comfortable and confident and love yourself at the end of the day. And I think if we started to pull the world in that direction, more love, more kindness to each other. Yes, hashtag be kind to one another. Love you, Ellen. But it's true. It's so true. And it seems like it's such a silly thought or wish to have, but having confident, secure children that can give back to the society in a positive emotional way is huge.
Yes.
So awesome. All right.
One question that my husband has asked me a couple of times, he's like, what if Marcus, he's our 2-year-old little boy, he turns 3 in a week. So yeah, so he said, what are you going to do if he comes to you on his 17th birthday and says, Mom, I want to join the Army? Would you sign that paper? I was like, I would sign the paper. I would cry when I was signing the paper, but I would sign the paper. If that's what he wants to do, and he follows in his daddy's footsteps, every single thing he does. We have an Army shelf, a 5-tier shelf in our house of all of my husband's medals and photos and everything, and memorandum bracelets that he wears. I mean, it's just packed down with everything. And I catch my son just standing in front of it and just looking at it. And if that's what he wants to do and that's what his life is meant for, then God gave me to him for a reason.
Right.
So I'll sign that paper. I'll cry, and it might be tear stained, but I'll sign it because that's what he wants to do.
Wow. I mean, I can't even fathom. Okay. Is your husband, first of all, do you guys still live on base?
We do not live on base right now.
Okay.
I did his 2 tours in Afghanistan. He was stationed at Fort Polk in Louisiana for almost 6 years. And then right after, like actually a week after we found out we were having our son, my husband got recruiting orders. So it was like the heavens shined down on us that day. And so that means no deployments. That means that he was going to be a recruiter. He'd be home every night. So that's what he's doing now. And that's what moved us to Indiana. So we're here for now, and he will probably be done pretty soon. He's starting the process of a medical retirement due to his PTSD, and
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, and he has a traumatic brain injury as well. And
oh my gosh!
So he's done his time. He's done 9 years, over 9 years, and so I mean, our home is Indiana. We're staying here. We're staying in Vincennes. We love it here. So.
Well, that's awesome. Oh my gosh! So that was my question was, and he, I assume, is not an officer. So is he? Okay.
Yes, he's a staff sergeant. He actually got meritoriously promoted to staff sergeant. So that's when your commanding officer recognizes you and says, this is a good soldier. This is what our soldiers need to be like. This is who our soldiers need to aspire to be. And they gave him the promotion off of that. So
my ex-husband got his, they were downrange, and they actually drove me downrange so I could be there for it.
Oh, wow.
Who gets to do, it was crazy. It was nuts because I was the only civilian there, and I was like, but on the same token, I got to meet President Bush for the same reason. President Bush Sr.
Oh.
Because we were stationed in Colorado at Fort Carson. And so my husband used to work for Colin Powell. So I don't know how that part of my life happened. I kind of look back and I go, is that real?
Is that real?
Yeah, no, that's crazy. So now I've met both Bushes, and so I mean, I'm like, I guess at the end of the day, if you're gonna do something inspiring, at least be able to have a story about it. So
right, meet a couple presidents, why not?
Yeah, just why not? Sure, no big deal. It's all good. Yeah.
Just a couple, no big deal.
So, last question, because I know you've got to go back to being a mommy and being a wife. What inspired you to go into a pageant?
Well, like I said, it's been 10, almost 11 years since I competed last. It'll be 11 years in June. So I always liked the rush that I felt whenever I was doing that. And I always felt like I was fulfilling something in myself that I didn't know that needed fulfilled, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
And when I decided to compete last year, we were both struggling mentally because, my husband was, I was trying to keep myself and my kids together while helping him at the same time. So I did it as a self-esteem booster. That's why I registered last year. And this year I registered because I felt like I had to prove something to myself. I started this, I'm going to finish it, and I'm going to finish it with a bang. And so I want to go out there and, just even furthermore prove how you can be a full-time mom. You can be a full-time worker with a career. You can be a full-time student. You can be a wife. You can volunteer, and you can wear a crown on your head. and you can do it with grace, poise, and elegance.
Okay, how do we fit that all in? Yeah, International Women's Day. That is beyond what the description is for an empowered woman.
Yes.
For anybody out there that thinks, number one, that they can get into heels and get on a stage and wear a swimsuit, hello. But let's do it with a family and a full-time job and going to school and volunteering and a husband that's going through depression and dealing with all of the issues that come with that and look great.
Yes.
No big deal. Yeah, that's right. No biggie. And that is chocolate yogurt, by the way. So, okay, that makes your head hurt. I agree. Oh my goodness. But Casey, you are too. All of you have had such amazing stories. And I have to say that I find that's the reason I do this, is because I meet so many inspiring women. And men too. We haven't had many men on the show, but it's women majority. Haven't you technically? Yes, I have. Thank you, Sean. I have been to the White House, and yes. It's not about me, Sean. Go away. Okay. Sean's quite says, and have I technically met 3 presidents? Yes, I have. So. Anyways, so what is your final, what do you want to say to everybody before we leave? Tell us how we can get in contact with you, and what's your final thought to close up with?
Okay, I'm on Facebook, so you feel free to follow me on there. I have my personal page, which is Hayley Dorsett, and I also have my pageant page, which is Mrs. Knox County, Indiana 2018. So please follow me on there. I love doing live videos. I love posting pictures, and I love keeping everybody up to date on everything that I'm doing. And my final thought would just be, in every day, there's going to be struggles. And there's going to be times when you feel like giving up, and there's going to be times that you don't think you can do anymore. But if you put your mind to it and you have a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, you can absolutely do anything that you want to do. And you can do it and be happy doing it. And you can do it and you can make others proud, and you can do it and inspire others to do the same things that you're doing.
See, I think that is phenomenal. And I think that is really what pageantry is about. And it is a huge sisterhood.
Yes.
Clearly, here we have someone that's competing with you, that is on here to support you, wants to hear your story, wants to be part of what you're doing. And, and I mean, and I know Lael would too. I know she's busy with school, so she's trying to juggle all of that too. So we are grateful for what you do, and don't take this the wrong way, but I've got to tell you, your pictures do not do you justice.
Oh, thank you very much.
They do not do you justice. Because it doesn't capture your personality. Like, you have a very bubbly personality, and I got to say, I am really inspired by you. I think that you are an amazing woman, really trying to change your world. And I wish all of you guys the best of luck. It's hard for me to be able to say, yeah, you're going to win, because now I know several of you. So I want to make sure that I support everybody. And I know whomever wears the crown at the end of the day, you guys are going to be there to support each other. And you're always going to continue to wear your crown as it is right now. So whatever you're doing, it's going to be wonderful and inspiring and making a difference. So.
And in the Mrs. Indiana system, I mean, if it tells you anything, we have a group chat on Facebook, and all of the contestants, we talk. I think we've actually been talking today about the International Women's Day, and just being able to just connect and be somewhat on a different level than what you would expect to be with people you're competing against. I mean, each woman that goes in there has something different to bring to the table. And
right.
And you don't know what the judges are looking for that day. You just don't. But you go in there and you be yourself, and any one of the women that are competing would represent the state beautifully. It just depends on what they're at that day.
And honestly, the same judges could judge the same women the next day and come up with a totally different winner.
Yes.
So there's no way. Again, you're opening yourself to subjectivity and analyze and taking critique, and that's a scary thing for a lot of people. So I think anybody that competes at a pageant is really taking on they have to be confident, they have to be sure of themselves, or moving towards that, because sometimes you're not, and this is the thing that you do to kind of take it to the next level, which, for in my case, when I competed as a teenager, it was about building confidence. And when I competed later on, when I came back to pageantry, because I took a good break for a while, I knew, like you had, that goal.
Yes.
That no, I'm gonna walk on a national stage.
Yes.
And the next thing I knew, I was. So you just have to go into it thinking this is what I fell on the national stage just like Miss Congeniality, but it's okay.
Hey, you got back up.
I still placed. And then I competed in another system after that too. So the crown that's supposed to be yours will be placed on your head, whatever one it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Tell your husband thank you for sharing you. We appreciate it. And I'm glad that we were able to reschedule it. I'm sorry again about Sunday, but thank you so much.
You're just fine. I'm just glad you're feeling better.
It doesn't happen very often. I get sick, but I just don't let people know it usually. So I apologize for canceling, but I appreciate you being flexible. So
I'm just glad that we were able to get it rescheduled so I could get on here. So I'm really excited.
I wanted to make sure we did it before you guys go to compete. So I want people to see you. And please make sure you follow her journey, because, if she wins, we're going to have her back on again. So it's important. Not that we won't have you back on. I think that if there's a way that I could get all three of you on afterwards and go, so how did it go?
Tell me all about it, all the details.
Exactly. So, great. Thank you so much for being here, Hayley. I really appreciate it. And we will look forward to following your journey and looking forward to where it goes from here.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much. It was much fun. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here for International Women's Day. We are so grateful for the talented, wonderful women that are here making a difference, and supporting each other and showing that pageantry is positive and it's a way to be able to, have a change in your world. I am so grateful for these opportunities and for these amazing women that I meet, and I get to know them, and I haven't physically met them. I met Leal, but I haven't met everybody else. So I will look forward to that. It'll happen. It'll find a way. We'll find a way. With that being said, our regular Sunday show is not going to happen because I am going to be at Miss Miami America pageant. It is the official, the very first official preliminary for Miss America in Florida. And that is on Sunday. So I'm not sure if we're live streaming yet, but we will be interviewing the winners afterwards. So it'll be Miss Miami Beach, and Miss Miami's Outstanding Teen. So look for that on Sunday, but we won't have our regularly scheduled show. And then I got to check the schedule because we have been having tons of appointments and I have to make sure I have them. So Monday night we have Miss Outstanding Teen, Miss Centennial Hills Outstanding Teen is going to be on Monday night at 9 p.m. and as well as Miss Centennial Hills America. So she'll be on Sunday. And then let me check on the 15th. And then on the 15th at 9 p.m., which is Thursday, Kelsey Garcia, who's Miss Rhode Island International, is going to be on. So, hey, thank you, Abdella. I appreciate you being here. With all of that, we appreciate all of you being here, being part of our Crownies, and being part of our show. Without you, we don't have a show to do. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you for joining us. I love all of you. I'm so grateful for you and you being here and making a difference. Smile. Okay, there you go. We made it to second today. Yes. So, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you guys on Sunday night. And I look forward to seeing you then. Hashtag be kind to one another. Hashtag Ellen. And thank you so much. And that's a wrap, guys.